I think you're providing that value upfront. And with a lot of other courses, you have to buy in first and hope there's value afterwards.
You mentioned that you've been on some other programs, other courses before that you joined the Dropship Unlocked Masterclass. So did that make you feel hesitant before you joined? Did you have that in the back of your mind? And was there anything that was holding you back? And then what ultimately got you over that hesitancy? What then got you over that to join the Masterclass?
It's a great question, James. And I think naturally, everyone's had some experience in a course, or they've been burned with something, and they thought, I can buy something for, $97 or $47, and it will be the answer to everything that I need. And naturally, that does kind of burn you a little bit. So I think my apprehension was definitely there. I was maybe a little bit nervous about it because it was, I say this with respect, yet another dropshipping course that you're seeing ads for. But like I said at the very start of this episode, there was something different about this. The fact that it was UK based, the fact that there was a discovery call up front. It wasn't just someone saying, "You're right, click here and send me to a very long landing page or sales page and click a button to buy," and never hear from them again. It felt very personal, and I think that was the difference. There's obviously the other difference, which is the pricing of this mentoring. It kind of legitimizes it, because if you charged $100 for this, maybe it would devalue it massively. And I think that's where a lot of people feel burned, because they want to believe that $100 course is going to be the answer to their prayers, because you desperately want the win, you desperately want the success, and you want to believe, you make yourself believe that I can just keep buying something cheap and cheerful, and eventually I'll make it. But the fact that there is a serious investment in this mentoring, the fact that there's the discovery call up front, really to answer questions, I think you're providing that value up front. And with a lot of other courses, you have to buy in first and hope there's value afterwards. And you kind of convince yourself, never mind, there was one nugget that I got out of it. And you end up doing that 10 times or sometimes more. And you end up with these virtual products sitting on a shelf with no one to contact, no sort of recourse, no support. And dare I say, you probably end up spending the same amount of money over a longer period of time on a bunch of smaller courses that don't dive as deep and don't go in as much detail and don't give you that support, and you can't relate to it. There's only so much you can relate to again, I say this with respect to anyone listening, but it's only so much we can relate to an American sales pitch or a course where there is no one in the UK. Everyone's in somewhere in the States or around the world, somewhere else, and you feel like you've been, you kind of been scammed a little bit. Even if it's a legit course and there's something in there, you don't feel fully settled because there's no one to go to for support. There's no community. And I'm sure people listening will have spent more than just, the $100. There's courses out there that are able to squeeze $1,000 out of you or more and not provide the value. So I would bet that there are, I'm not a betting man, but I would bet that there are people who've spent as much, if not more, than they've spent and invested, not spent, but invested in this course through other courses. And, that's for me, the apprehension was quickly, dissolved because of the call with one of your team members. And secondly, the case studies of people I could relate to. And you weren't selling the dream. You were selling a business model. You weren't selling a dream, a quick buck, and all the things that you said. I remember one part of the sales process, Lewis, was you talked about Wayfair. Wayfair, for those of you in the UK will know Wayfair very, very well. I bought a ton of stuff from Wayfair. I had zero idea that was their business model. And I think that was another one of those sort of aha moments, like, oh, yeah, it's absolutely right. That is that model. And then you start connecting the dots and seeing around you. And like, I remember one of the videos was like about these magic glasses. You start seeing this everywhere. Like, oh my God, this is not like a new concept, but you've kind of, explained it in such a way that makes complete sense, rather than it being so pie in the sky, airy fairy, sit on a beach with your laptop, and money comes out of your laptop screen. You see those stock images, right? And I've been on the beach. No one's sitting there with a laptop, guys. Like, no one's on the beach in their swimming trunks with a laptop, and money's sort of coming out of the USB port or whatever, like the stock images portray. That just doesn't happen. I hate to break it to anyone listening. It's just not real. And that's what a lot of things that we get caught up in.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I was stung as well, not so much in paying for other courses, but I was stung in the way that I followed YouTube free advice, but I ended up spending through losing ad spend. And I think a similar story as well is, you have to choose where you're going to invest your money. You're going to invest in yourself, you're going to invest in mentorship, or you're going to invest in mistakes. So it's a well-trodden path that I completely relate to as well, Suraj. And yes, also some home truths about money not coming out of a USB port. I'm yet to see it, maybe one day. But in terms of moving forward now, Suraj, so I'd like to know your plans and what you have in mind and your vision for the future. Where would you like to take your e-commerce business now? And where would you like to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years time?
Yeah, great question, James. So where I am at right now with this one store, I want to continue to tweak it and to grow it. I don't want to just sort of leave it where it is and say, hey, all right, I'm done with this one store. I know there is a lot still that I can get out of this first store. It's still technically an MVS. I'm still using the free theme on Shopify. I think it was Dawn or something like that. So I know there's a lot of opportunity still with this store. So my plan, at least for the immediate and short-term future right now going into the new year, is to continue to sign up suppliers, to improve the conversion rate on the store. Now that I know that it converts, it's to start looking at ways to tweak the conversion rate, make it an easier, smoother experience for the customers to buy, continue building relationships with the suppliers that I'm seeing really good success with. And that's not just about squeezing more margin out of them. It's just about making sure that we have a very long-term future. I'd rather stay at the margins I'm currently on with them, but be making sales with them for many years to come, rather than try to sort of be too greedy about it and say, well, now I want 10% more. It's only been 2 months, so they don't want to come across in that way. It's all about long-term relationships here with the store and a real brandable business. And then eventually, I guess, haven't quite got as far as this yet, but start thinking about a second niche and a second store. Go back to the research spreadsheet from the beginning of the course. Look at what else was on my list. Also, now that I've seen others, their experiences, and also got that extra experience myself in a real retail online store with real UK products, I can see that experience gives me insight into which niches on my list may be ones to avoid, even if the numbers match up, even if the spreadsheet and the data is telling me which way to go. There are sort of non-spreadsheet insights that you can only get from actually running ads, running a store, speaking to suppliers, seeing how that industry works, and eventually starting a second, third, fourth store and so on. But for now, still very much in that learning phase for this first store. But the long-term future, don't want to sort of jinx myself or predict it too much, too far ahead, but definitely want something that I can then say, well, this is my choice now, whether I want to stay in my job or not, and make that as a very conscious choice rather than be forced to make the choice to stay. I'd rather stay out of choice. I think that changes the whole mentality about turning up to work every day. If you have to go to work, compared to I get to go to work because it's my choice, and I think that changes the game forever.